Hey y'all, welcome to the Quiet as Kept podcast. I'm your host, Shawnti Refuge, a master certified mental health coach, author of the best selling book Quiet as Kept, and journaling advocate. This podcast is where we unpack the conversations we've been told to keep quiet, especially in the Black community. Each episode dives into topics like trauma, self love, healing, and mental wellness with honesty and heart. Grab your journal and get ready because we keep quiet is often what we need to release. So let's get into it. Today's topic is why we struggle to ask for help. This episode right here, it is for all of my people who always say, I got it. The strong ones, the dependable ones, the ones who never want to feel like a burden. Isn't it real? That used to be me. I would go through the darkest days, dark with a smile on my face, and nobody knew I was drowning. I thought asking for help made me weak. I thought it made me needy. What it really made me was human. People used to call me a robot all the time, and I used to take pride in it because you never know what emotion I was feeling because I would never show it. My RBF was on point until it wasn't. But y'all know about that story. In my book, Quiet as Kept, I talk about the lie so many of us were raised with. This idea that we must be strong, silent, and self sufficient at all costs. Especially as Black women and men, we've been conditioned to keep it together, even when we were falling apart. But let me hit you with some truth real quick. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. Believe me, I tried it. Community is medicine, connection is healing. According to research from the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology, people who avoid asking for help often experience higher rates of loneliness, depression, and anxiety. That I don't need anyone mentality, that's the one I used to have, may feel empowering at first, but down the line, it leads to emotional burnout and isolation. And for those of us who's experienced childhood trauma or grew up in households where vulnerability wasn't safe, asking for help feels like risking rejection. And that's exactly what it felt like, too. But we have to unlearn that. And that's not something you unlearn overnight. This takes time, it takes practice. So, how do you begin asking for help? First, start small. You don't have to dump your whole life story in one sitting. Start with something like, I'm struggling today. Identify safe people. Let me say that again. Identify who your safe people are because believe it or not, the people you think are your safe people turn out to not be your safe people. Not everyone deserves access, but someone in your circle can hold space. We might have a circle of good girlfriends or whoever, and you know the ones you can confide in and the ones you keep surface level, the ones you only have coffee or whatever in common or brunching. And then you have that one that, you can actually be vulnerable, get naked vulnerably with. So, and if you don't have that person in your life, you might consider looking outside of your circle, finding a therapist or a coach. Hello, you're listening to one right now. Qualify for this. Reframe help as strength. It takes strength to admit you need support. You have to literally say it out loud. I need help. Whether you say it to yourself at first, so you could be comfortable enough to say it to someone, but you have to, you know, gather that courage to admit that you even need support. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and say, hey, you look like you need support. Because guess what? You're going to reject it. So you have to be the one to say, hey, I'm struggling. I need help. Here are some journaling prompts for you. The first one is, where did I learn that asking for help is a weakness? Where did I learn that asking for help is a weakness? What support do I need right now but haven't asked for? What support do I need right now but haven't asked for? Who in my life has shown me they're safe to reach out to? Who in my life has shown me that they're safe to reach out to? No one can answer these prompts but you. right, so now comes the part where I answer your questions that you have been sending in. And again, I'm so grateful. This is Journal Bay Q&A, and I'm gonna answer the questions that I received. They're always anonymous. And if you ever want to send in your question, no question is too hard or no question is, off limits. Ask. I will keep your question. I will answer your question, but I will keep it anonymous. I won't name you. Won't do that. So here is the question: how do I stop measuring my worth by what I do for others? Oh, baby, I have been there. When I realized I tied my worth to my output, meaning how much I helped, how much I gave, how much I did for others, that hit hard. But baby, let me tell you, you are not your usefulness. I'm going to say that again. You are not your usefulness. I want you to sit with this. You were worthy the day you were born. Period. Your worth is not transactional. You don't have to perform for love or show up exhausted to prove you're valuable. That's old survival mode talk. You are allowed to just be rested, at peace, and whole, and still be deserving of love. Every day I write this in my journal. I am enough even when I do nothing. Try it and then go be still somewhere. Let your existence speak for itself. That was a good question. Thank you. And here's another one. How do I let go of someone I still love, even though the relationship was toxic? Woo! Y'all are holding no bars. Wow. Okay, so letting go of a toxic relationship is one of the hardest forms of healing, especially when there were good moments. That love, it was real, but so was the pain. And love should never come with constant confusion, fear, or anxiety. And quiet as kept, I wrote about a love that broke me. I've kept going back because I missed a version of them that loved me loud, but they were also the version that hurt me quietly. And healing came when I realized missing them doesn't mean I need to go back. It just means I'm human. Letting go is grief work. It is okay to grieve someone who is still alive. It's okay to cry. It's okay to remember. But don't go back to what broke you, trying to relive a moment that is past. Baby, let them go from afar and love yourself even harder. All right. That's it for today's episode of the Quiet as Kept podcast. And if something I shared resonated with you, take a moment to journal on it and share this episode with someone who needs it. And visit ShawntiRefuge.com for more tools, prompts, and coaching. If you haven't already, grab your copy of Quiet as Kept. That's the book that started it all. Until next time, protect your peace and stay grounded in your truth.